So welcome everybody to our first info session for the fall 2023 residency cohort application cycle. I am super happy to have you guys here and to answer your questions. I don't want to take up too much of your time talking about things that you can, I don't know, kind of figure out from our website. But the garage has gone through iterations, and the ghosts of its past remain today. And I feel like every time I do an info session, I get questions that remind me that I have to kind of keep repeating myself about certain things that are true about the garage now that weren't true before. And so rather than do those repeatedly over email, because everyone has these frequently asked questions, I started doing info sessions just to knock a bunch of FAQs out, but also to answer any specific questions you have about your startup or the things that you're interested in knowing. So use the chat to network with each other. It's always such a great opportunity to meet people you don't know. Some things I say is your LinkedIn URL and your business URL if you have one. And also if you're looking for support, a co-founder, a tech specialist, an advisor, a mentor, put that in there. Even though that person might not be in the room, a person in the room might know somebody in those spaces and can help you out. My laptop's getting hot, so I'm gonna just adjust that. Okay, so oh, and lastly, join our mailing list. So I keep QR codes on this deck, but you can also find it at our website. Our mailing list will allow you to see the upcoming Oceanside. Any of our open events get shared. And then I also usually put other opportunities within LA on there as well. Okay. So the residency program is essentially several things. It's programs, resources, and community. These are the things that I'm going to be covering today. I won't spend a lot of time on this slide deck. It's kind of like the agenda. So I'm going to just shift it down the line and actually start talking. So one of the things that makes VSG unique is that it's a completely free resource. And I know that that's hard to believe because a lot of these accelerator programs that you can apply to that are very good, I'm not saying that they're not good or worth it, are looking to take equity and they also invest. So it's a little bit of an exchange. You don't have to worry about that with the garage. It's not part of the way that we operate. And another thing, especially if this is like important for faculty, researchers, people who are doing university stuff, where your IP that you develop on campus is, owned by part from those universities. Anything that you do at the garage, even though we are USC, is not USC owned, meaning that your IP is safe with you and we don't take any of that. Who do we accept? Now, this is one of those like frequently asked questions sections. So, and it's pretty easy once you understand it. So number one, full-time founders. Now, we've taken founders who have like one full-time and then their co-founder is working. Two co-founders working and kind of part-timing the startup is not ideal. If you guys are looking to go full-time and you have a metric for when you're going to do that, and that metric is going to happen in the early part of the year while you're with us, put that in your application because it will make a difference. We will take founders who we know are right around the corner of becoming full-time. But if you're like a full-time student, or if both co-founders, or you're the only solo founder and you're still at your full-time job and you're kind of moonlighting, I feel like it's just not where we want you guys to be. We want you to be focused on the startup. And so that's important. LA based is obvious. We're a residency program. We want you in the space. A lot of what we do is in-person stuff with the teams that we have, which basically means that you should be using the office like 3+ days a week. It's beautiful. It's right along the water. There's so many great resources. And then we also provide things in the office to make you comfortable. At the end of the day, if you're not in LA, you're not going to be able to come every day. And so LA based is one of the things that we look for. Tech enabled. So, this one's obvious. We are a Viterbi engineering school incubator, meaning our priority is being a part of the tech innovation scene. So if your business doesn't have technology enabling the product, you're not a good fit. And we definitely encourage you to involve yourself in our community, but it's just you wouldn't be a good fit for the garage. Industry agnostic just basically means you could be from any particular industry. This time around, it's kind of interesting, and I'm not going to talk too much about it this info session. I'm going to have another info session coming down the line, and I'll have a special guest on that one. That is the one we'll talk a little bit about our space cohort. So this time around, we're going to be partnered with an organization called Crest on campus, and another organization that's a USC partner, and they really kind of want us to bring in some space related teams into the garage. It's not going to be a full cohort. It's just going to be kind of like separate teams that get a little bit of extra help from these partners. So even though we're industry agnostic, there is currently on our application for the first time ever a little like radio button to signify that you are an aerospace or a space team. Early stage, pre-seed, seed, raising Series A. That sounds like a big, wide set of founders, but honestly, it's all the same. It's like raising money, not yet, funded. Because, even teams who are seed funded are still raising money. You're always raising. And so, that kind of stage of investment is broad, but not necessarily. There's a lot of overlap there. And that also means like stage of revenue too, like you can be pre-revenue, post-revenue, all of it fits in the garage. Here's a big one. No USC affiliation required. I know, I don't know why this is such a hard thing for like the general population to accept about the garage. You don't have to be from USC. You don't have to be a student at USC. We do like to support USC students, faculty, researchers, alumni for sure. And when we see it in the application, we like it, and there's weight to that. And so definitely include that if that's you. But our cohort is a mix, and sometimes these teams aren't even associated with a university. So not a requirement. And then the last one is kind of like an ethos. Like if you are happier at home alone, plugging away at your startup, maybe the garage isn't for you, because it is meant to be kind of an involved period of time in your life. Like it's almost like camp. Like you go away for a year, you make great relationships, you get support, you enjoy that time, and then you leave that nest, and then you should feel more alone afterwards. Like the whole point is to come together routinely with your cohort and really have a time. So if that's not part of how you believe work should be done, if you're really happy with your work from home situation or your remote situation, then perhaps the garage is not right for you. How do we accept teams? So you guys are experiencing one of two recruiting cycles, the spring and the fall. We review your applications, and then we conduct Zoom interviews for teams that we think will be a good fit. At the end of that process, we offer 5 to 6 slots for teams each cycle. So if you come in during this fall cycle, you'll be joining about 5-6 teams from our spring 2023, and they'll have been with us for at least 6 months. And they'll be kind of like the senior cohort. They get the window seats at the garage overlooking the marina. And then once they graduate, the teams that came in will shift into those nice chairs and be the senior team. It's a nice way for us to kind of allow for the culture that we build in the space to perpetuate itself, so that we're not starting from scratch every time we bring in a cohort. Now, before I move on, just because I feel like this is an area that people might have questions, and I see that there's some stuff in the chat, but maybe it's just networking stuff. Your screen share might be paused there. We are on slide 1 of 10. Try resharing. Oh, great. So you guys didn't see any of that stuff, huh?
We heard you loud and clear, but it was paused, so try resharing it.
Let's see. Why is my life like this? See, this is what work from home does. Exit full screen. Okay. Is that what it is? Is it just because I can't do presenter mode?
Now we see a blank white box.
Oh, brother. Do you see it now?
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay, I'm just gonna show you a little what you missed. You missed this one, and we were on this one. So technically, here it is. Does anyone have questions about these things that I just discussed? Nothing? Great. I mean, it's not rocket science. Although if you're into rocket science, there's a little radio button on our application cycle for you. It's not. LA, tech-enabled, early stage, ready to like enjoy being in a cohort with other founders. It's a good time for you to apply. So our programs are meant to kind of tackle all the different areas that might be of interest to you as a founder. So the first one is Founder Circle. Let's just call it group therapy. It is structured in a way to support you in being a better founder, in that we expect you to submit OKRs every quarter. And then during Founder Circle, we make sure that the goals that you're setting are helping you to actually make your way towards your quarterly goals. And, people will weigh in and you can ask questions of other founders. But more than that, it's just kind of a nice group of similar individuals able to commiserate about their experiences and share their experiences in a way that's useful to each other. And I think that that's an invaluable aspect to the garage. It's hard to kind of pull that off on your own, and the garage creates that environment through Founder Circle. Hold on, there's more questions in the chat and that makes me nervous. Oh no, these are just intros. Fantastic. Great job, guys. Okay, Oceanside chats. Those are open to the public, and the correlation to the garage is that I'm constantly paying attention in Founder Circle and trying to make sure that if there's a routine issue that's happening, for instance, like digital marketing is something that everyone's talking about, then I'll make it my beeswax to create an Oceanside chat that brings somebody who can talk about digital marketing. If like the needs are kind of disparate, then I just use our Oceanside chat to build out our community. We had one on ESG last week, or the week before, I should say, maybe. And then we have one coming up. We actually have a series coming up for Q3 and Q4. You guys will be able to attend any of those, whether you're in or out of the garage. But basically, it's just info sharing, networking opportunity with players in the innovation space. And that's not LA. It's the Oceanside chats are virtual. So now we can really include an international audience and an international subject matter expert. So it's been great and wildly successful. It grows all the time. Plus, we have a library now because we can record them. And so that's also open and free to the public. The legal clinics are specifically for the teams in the garage. So you can't just be a friend of VSG and enjoy those. We have a partner, Stubbs Alderton. Kevin DeBray is the lawyer that comes in and does legal clinics bi-monthly with us. We're also working on some new stuff this time around. It'll be included in this little website that I make for him, for you guys to get introduced to him. Again, this is like a private password only website. But one of the things that he's excited to do this term is kind of like a business audit. Look at your team, look at your structure, look at your basically all the things that you may have done that a lawyer's watchful eye might have some feedback on to make sure that the health of your business is actually where it needs to be. Getting that type of like look under the hood costs money. And because he does this for free for us, it's free for you guys as well. And so it's just one of the benefits is having somebody, you know, helping out, answering questions and stuff like that. VC Angel office hours. I love this one because it's just such a rare opportunity. So VC Angel office hours might seem like a meet and greet with investors for the purposes of investment, but it's not. It's really an opportunity for investors to tell you exactly how they feel about your pitch. It's meant to be kind of like a gloveless gut punch. So, you know, you'll be doing 20-minute pitches to these investors, and then they are going to spend, or well, 10 minutes of the pitch and then 10 minutes of them just telling you everything you did wrong. And I know that sounds evil and awful, but honestly, it's exactly what founders need, because when you're on that fundraising kind of like field of playing, like whatever, you're going to struggle, and you're going to hear no's, and people are going to shut doors on you, and they're never going to tell you why. So this is a really useful way for you to really fine tune your deck, the way you talk, your story, all of that. And have those opportunities for investment. The tech exchange is a great way for us to interact with the Information Sciences Institute. So ISI is basically the whole rest of the building that we're in, which is another USC research institute. And they are researching all the cutting edge technological advances at the edge. So for instance, right now, they are throwing all sorts of funding into their AI division, AI for health, AI for everything, basically. And so having a way for us to interact with these researchers is huge for teams. For instance, you know, when generative AI was just a buzzword, before it actually made its way to the public through things like ChatGPT, you know, founders were getting wise to it and were thinking, okay, well, how am I implementing generative AI in my product? And is there value to that? So then we did a tech exchange where we had researchers come in and basically tell the teams whether or not they thought it was a good idea for them to pursue it based off of, you know, where the technology is and what it can do, and kind of answer questions that a lot of us couldn't answer because we're just not spending, you know, our professional day researching artificial intelligence. And then the last one is Summer Smasher. So this, arguably, Summer Smasher is the biggest value add to the garage because it's hard to get technical support for your startup. Number one, it's expensive. Number two, it's competitive. So, and then it's, you know, it's also just hard to find good tech experts or people who can do the things that you need them to do. Summer Smasher basically leverages the university's tech talent through its undergraduate and graduate program. And we host a summer program where students come and do projects for your business for 8 weeks. And you can basically, you know, bring in as many students as you can manage. So some teams will be pretty conservative and have like maybe 2 or 3 students work on a couple projects, where other teams will have like 17 projects with 2 students on each project. And like that amount of technical support can really turn the tides on a lot of things for you. And it doesn't necessarily need to be technical support. It could be business support, because we open up that application for the students from the business school, from Keck School of Medicine, Price, all the different schools are invited to join Summer Smasher. This last time around, I mean, it keeps growing as a program. This last time around, we had like almost, it must have been like 380 applicants, which is wild. Okay, let's move it. Any questions about the programs? No? Awesome.
I'll add a question here. How long is the fall cohort? How long is the program? 6 months?
It's a whole year. So yeah, you will be with us for from basically October till October. And and I you know, I don't like saying this because I don't want feelings to get hurt if it doesn't work out, but there is also an opportunity to extend beyond that year. At the end of every team's cycle, I send out a application for extension. It's kind of like a legacy extension. And what it does is it gives us an idea of teams who'd like to stay. And then depending on our applicant pool for that cycle, we might choose to keep teams because they will continue to bring value into the space and support the new teams coming in, or they might be right on the verge of something really amazing and we want to be a part of it. It really all depends. So extensions happen every cycle, no question, but it's for different reasons every time. So yes, 1 year, could be longer.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Our resources are, I mean, so like our best resource is the space. It's expensive. So we thank the Dean of Viterbi for continuing to support what we're doing. I mean, he really just wants us to be a part of innovation and the startup community in LA. And so he's putting his money where his mouth is. And we appreciate that. So that whole space is open 24/7 to you guys as a resident, meaning you could sleep there if you wanted to. You have access every day of the week, 24 hours a day. So, and that means for like your team to grow as well. It's not just you as founders. If you guys are planning on hiring or building your team out, we have space for every team that we have in the garage to grow as big as they need. We're conservative in the amount of teams we bring in so that we can encourage that type of growth. I understand that you guys are all thinking about teams differently since the pandemic. Remote teams bring a lot of value into the startup space. But for instance, we have a team 222 in the garage where their whole kind of like product is about in person. And so they've wanted their team to resemble what they believe is important. And so it's been nice to kind of see them grow as big as they have in this space. And then the virtual stuff I kind of went over earlier in the programs, except that there's our mentorship program, Innovators in Residence. We have 3 mentors, Julie Pentiskas, Darren Berkowitz, and Dana Aiken. They're all generalists in business. Darren has IPO'd with his startup, so he's kind of like our resident super founder. Dana is an operations genius. So if you're a disorganized founder or need to get from point A to point B, she can really help you with that. And then Julie is a Pasadena angel and has also like grown up managing businesses and has a great deal of business experience. Plus, she just knows everybody. So like she knows Snoop Dogg. Anyways, so she's a connections person and can also talk a lot about, you know, the angel investment space. And then Dave Eastman, our director, he's a VC, so he can talk a lot about what it's like to invest on that side of the spectrum. So these Innovators in Residence offer their office hours weekly, 30 minutes a piece, and you can talk to all 3 of them and have an hour and a half of support if that's what you want. Every week while you're at the garage. At the end of the day, it's one of those resources that either you use it or you lose it. The mentors are not going to chase the teams in trying to provide them support and help. So like the onerous is on you to set up those times, but those times are available for you. Any questions about our resources?
I actually have a question that
Yeah.
you covered a little bit earlier. It's about the summer smasher, I believe, with the student tech support. How much compensation are they normally offered for their services?
It's a great question. So they are not offered compensation. The way the Summer Smasher program works is that there's like, it's kind of like a two-pronged system. There's these projects that they do for the teams in the space, and then there's a programmatic aspect for them specifically. So we bring in a faculty lead who does a speaker series for the students and hosts lab. So basically they're learning a lot about what it means to be a startup, how to be a startup founder, if they wanted to start up their own thing. So they're getting education and opportunity, and also doing these projects for you guys. And that it's kind of like a packaged offering for them.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else?
So after the summer smasher, do we have to issue them, a certification or anything?
No, so that's a great question. They get a certificate of completion from the program, and they also get a letter from the vice dean to put in their like portfolio. They can also, add whatever project work they did to their project portfolio, and also bolster their, for instance, LinkedIn is becoming such a popular way for people to connect and to remain relevant in the business space. And so, their interaction with you and what they get from you is really a kind of a subjective relationship. So for instance, if you as a founder wanted to write them a great letter of recommendation, you could do that. But it's not something that we require from the teams, because we as a program are providing them some kind of like certification afterwards. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna move on. We're getting close.
By the way, can I ask another question about the legal office hour? So, is there any specific fails for that legal thing, like intellectual property or employment, or like
Sure, that's a great question. So, Kevin DeBray is mostly, in IP and like general startup kind of business stuff. We have other lawyers who are part of our community and do oceanside chats and also warm introductions on other things like immigration, employment law. We also have one immigration, employment. Why am I spacing on this third thing? Oh, like things. Well, I guess Kevin would also cover things like trademarks, Gex, that would all fall under IP. I mean, I think like those are the big three: immigration, employment, and IP / business.
There's privacy.
Yeah. So that would fall. So privacy would all fall under kind of what Kevin DeBray does. In fact, that's one of the things that is going to be added to the new and improved private website. There's going to be a questionnaire to make sure that your business is privacy compliant, which I think is really useful for me as somebody who's supporting teams. I'm not a lawyer. And, every once in a while, I think to myself, like, oh God, like, am I even capable of identifying whether or not a team is in trouble in this way? The answer is probably no. I can help on a business scale. So this is going to be a really nice addition to what we're able to provide for you. It's just these kind of checks, check-ins for this type of stuff.
Yeah, sure. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So startups, this is just community stuff. startups, we are engaging with you in all these really great ways. The thing that I didn't mention is our relationship to the I-Core program with the National Science Foundation. Sometimes we encourage teams to apply. We currently hold the solicitation for the Hub West for the I-Core program. There's only 5 hubs. And so we can also help in case that's something that you want to be involved in. We can help you with that process. That doesn't necessarily mean like you're a shoo-in, but our relationships are so strong that we can definitely help you to get to a point where you'd be a good candidate for that. And then the tech scouting workshop, we haven't done it since the pandemic, but I do think it's going to start happening again. And that's just kind of like a big demo day style event that we do with the National Science Foundation. Mentors, I mean, if you know any, I'm always happy to kind of continue to build. VSG's finally gotten to the point where people know about it enough that I'm no longer doing outreach, but the leads kind of come in and I get to just like sit back and enjoy the fact that people want to be involved at the garage, which is a great place to be. So for instance, like I just got a lead the other day and I had a great talk with a woman who does global marketing, and she's going to do a 2-part series for Oceanside Chat. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean like all the teams in the garage are going to find value in something like that. So she's going to be more general about just marketing and finding and doing I mean, you guys will see what the abstract is. But my point is that our mentor pool grows and grows, and literally we don't pay these people anything. They just want to be involved in innovation. They love USC. A lot of them are USC alum. I don't know what it is about USC, but people just love to come back and continue to participate pro bono. And so that's one way that our community is growing. And then obviously with students, it's mostly with the Summer Smasher. And so I love the students for more than just the Summer Smasher. They are like literally the future, and they have nothing but like wind in their sails. So I'd love to be able to do things like perhaps engage with students throughout the year. I'm always kind of racking my brain on how to do that and not be invasive, because they do obviously have school. But yeah, they really are the best, and I can't gush enough about Summer Smasher. It's just such a great program. Yeah, and we're coming up to the end. So here are the dates. Application is live now. It deadline's on the 1st, and the kickoff will be on the 16th. I'll tell you right now, though, that the likelihood of us pushing the application deadline and pushing the program kickoff is likely. It's likely because it basically happens every cycle, but it's also more likely because of a time constraint with our mentor group for reviewing applications. This is me just being openly apparent with you guys about the time frame in case I don't know, you're traveling or whatever. I would suggest apply. Don't like hope that we will extend. If you can apply. But understand that there is a high chance that we will extend the application. And then Summer Smasher, those are just in case there are any students on this call, kind of the general months that we start to do our recruiting for Summer Smasher. Okay, so here's the QR code for the application. And then there's also a QR code just for our website, for the General Tie website. You can find VSG and in like the kind of like scrolling top part. I think the main thing to think about when applying to the garage is really creating a compelling application for yourself as a founder, because your business is your business, meaning like the metrics will be the metrics. Take time to really think about how you're presenting yourself as founders, because we really want founders. Your business is important to us, but we want to know that the right people are in the position to do it. So I know sometimes it seems kind of like the unnecessary portion of the application, like how did you meet as founders? I would say really take some time and make sure that your application is reflecting your ability to do the things that you suggest you're going to do. That would be my advice. Hold on, we got some chats. Let's see. Hi, Arcelia, could you please be a bit more specific about the legal clinics? Oh, wait, did you?
Yeah, that
that
was my question.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Sorry, I am not good at the chat. Okay, here's a couple more QR codes. This is the last slide for today. One of them is just to book a chat with me privately. Let's say there's a question that's specific about your business that you didn't want anyone else to hear. You can book a chat with me. Or if you want some more advice on how to, create a compelling application, I'm super happy to spend time with anybody who'd like to drill down on things. Or just to find out whether or not you are a good fit for the garage. I can be perfectly frank with you in private if that's what you'd like. You can also book a visit. The garage is open for business, meaning we're past that period of time where people have to do Trojan checks for their COVID. Although a lot of people are getting sick these days, so don't come to the garage if you're sick, please. But yeah, I mean, ultimately the garage is going to be a place that you're visiting routinely. So booking a visit, going there, seeing what it's like might be a good idea for you if you're, interested in applying. So yeah, you can do that as well. All right, I'm going to stop sharing and just open it up for a final set of questions from the group if you have any. Oh, hey, Selena. Selena comes to a lot of our Oceanside chats. It's nice to see you.
Oh, hi, Sylvia. Sorry, I was late. I kind of missed the first half session, so I catch the few last questions, and definitely reach out to you to see more and looking through the application. So did you go over the application questions with?
Our application is very similar to like Techstars and Y Combinator. It's all the basic stuff. It just wants to get some of the metrics for your business, making sure that you're kind of like in the right space for the garage.
So I have a question then, because I travel back to San Jose, Silicon Valley right now. I just met with my engineer team yesterday, which they're like years experience as engineers. But right now they're doing part-time as I just started officially because I have my company registered and I have the plan. But in terms of that, if I apply for this, they probably gonna work remotely or they travel back and forth because they're working professionals, engineers, doing managing positions in big companies. So in that sense, if I apply for this, would I get any other helps like engineering, as you mentioned, probably those internship, or you call them summer splash as the students, the engineering students trying to work with my engineering lead over here? Is that I would expect?
I think that there's the value of Summer Smasher and just being associated with the university is that you get a nice pool of upcoming tech professionals before the corporate world gobbles them up. I think, was your question about just access to tech support, or was there a second part of your question?
Yeah, it was more of like tech support.
Yeah, I do. So I also have a great relationship with the people at Viterbi Careers. So, for instance, like posting and supporting that process of you getting access to students who are looking, or like current graduates or graduates looking for positions, especially at startups. There are avenues for that. Plus, there are ways for you to participate in some of the on-campus, connect, programs for students so that you can get out there and actually meet them. And then I think maybe even more valuable is being able to be around other founders who have also additional resources on how to find good tech support.
Great. Actually, I already downloaded the application. Just wondering, is the team who participated mostly already have funded, and also they have paid customers, or because I started?
It's a range. Yeah, so I mean, teams have come in, haven't launched their product, are just sitting on a wait list. Teams that have come in who are already on their way to raising their Series A. So it's kind of like a mixed bag. We like it like that because we want the teams to be able to support each other. I always say that the senior team, like the teams with more experience help out the greener teams, but the greener teams keep the senior teams more honest, because sometimes you can think you've figured it all out and you're not asking yourself the right questions anymore. And then you have kind of a young team coming in asking all the questions because they're desperate for help. And it helps these kind of more senior teams realize that they don't have it all figured out yet.
Great to know. Thank you. I'll look into it.
Okay, if that's all with the questions, I will let you guys go. Yeah, application closes October 1st. Looking forward to seeing a lot of really great applicants, and maybe seeing you guys in person at the garage for a visit. Let me know. Bye, everyone. Thanks again, Oscar, for your help. I'll see you guys.
Thank you. Have a good
One
one. I'll
second,
see you soon.
Arcelia,
Thank
I
you.
have a question, but I'll wait for a few minutes because I want to ask these questions on behalf of.
Privately? Okay, here, let me stop the recording then.
Yes.